everyone, it's me, Speed Force Legends, and today I'm going to be doing my ranking on all the films in the DCEU from worst to best. Now, before I get started with this video, I just want to say that I'm not really sure why people call this the Snyderverse, or at least ever since we got the Snyder Cut for Justice League. But yeah, I'm going to be including all 10 of them, and that includes both versions of Justice League, now that we got the Snyder Cut out. And I'm not going to be including the Ultimate Edition for Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice, because as far as I'm aware of, it's not as different to the original, and because the two versions of Justice League are still very different in quality, so that's why I'm putting those two on this list. And this is just my opinion, so I'll respect yours if you respect mine. Anyway, let's get on to this ranking. Coming in at last place is Suicide Squad. Now, these bottom two are pretty tied for me as the worst film out of this franchise. Although, this is worse because false advertising, the fact that the other one did not live up to this title, unlike this one. I hope you get what I mean by that, but anyway. And it just has the worst writing, too. They screwed up the Joker so badly. Same with Batman. Like, they made it so much better in the Snyder Cut. In my opinion, Batman Arkham Assault, and to some extent, that scene in the Snyder Cut alone with the Joker, that's the true Suicide Squad to me, not whatever joke this was. I mean, it has flashbacks within flashbacks. The Joker looked like he was gonna play a big role when he barely had any screen time at all. And when he did, he had very bad writing, like him being all touchy around people and stuff. And that is just stupid. And that's why we couldn't take Jared Leto's Joker so seriously compared to how he is now, or even how you compare him to the other Jokers. And the reason why that's the number one reason I did not like this was because the Joker is one of my favorite villains of all time, right under Reverse Flash and Zoom. And also, it's just ironic that the director of this film said, "Fuck Marvel." Like, he thinks that this is better than the entire MCU. And we're talking about one movie that ruined DC. Well, I mean, I've seen worse films than this, but it's just awful. I mean, well, there was a time where Marvel movies used to be worse than DC, but I'm not going to talk about that in this video. Coming in at the top 9 is Justice League, the theatrical version of Justice League. And like I said, these bottom two are pretty tied for me. But this one, I mean, at least Suicide Squad lived up to its title. This one did not, or at least what Warner Brothers wants to call it. They ruined this so badly. The CGI, the writing, the dialogue, and just almost every reason you can think of. How do you compare it to the Snyder Cut? You just don't. There was no build-up for the characters whatsoever. It was like, hey look, there's the Flash, there's Aquaman, there's Cyborg, and they're all useless. You don't do that in the superhero film. And they cut out all the Darkseid scenes and put it with Steppenwolf, who was nowhere near as interesting as he is in the Snyder Cut. Just how... I don't even know why I'm even gonna have to explain more. Most people put this at the bottom of their list. I don't blame them. Anyway, I'm just gonna move on. It's just really bad. And don't even get me started on how the visuals are too. I mean, there's so many videos about it as well. Watch Mr. H Reviews. He does a good example of that. Coming in at the top 8 is Birds of Prey. Now, I originally liked this movie. I mean, I thought it was hilarious and a lot like Deadpool. And I liked Harley Quinn more because of this. But it's nowhere near as good as the Harley Quinn show. And once I got into better movies like the DCEU and other stuff like that, I realized this was not as good as I remembered it being. And they put a lot of references like, ooh, girl power, all men are rapists, and they screwed up Black Mask, and also they tell the story on how Harley and the Joker broke up through animated form, which I thought was stupid, all because of how bad Jared Leto was in Suicide Squad. Like, that's horrible thinking. Other than that, I don't have that many problems with this movie, but for for those reasons alone, it's not good. Coming in at the top 7 is Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. Now, from here on up, these are all movies that at least get a pass or are recommendable. My bottom 3, I do not recommend. Or, at least not the bottom 2. But anyway. Well, this I originally thought was the greatest superhero movie ever made. Then I looked at it through the perspective of a comic book fan and realized why people didn't like it. They make Batman kill people. They make Superman into a god. And Lex Luthor into a Riddler type character who pees in cups, which I thought was stupid. And they screwed up Doomsday. But the Snyder Cut kind of filled up its problems. I can at least accept the fact that Lex Luthor is still a good villain in this, even if he doesn't act like Lex Luthor. And the whole thing about Superman being worshipped as a god really ties into the story of why Batman wants to defeat him and why Lex Luthor does not like him. And also the whole thing about the Joker killing Robin and other stuff like that led to Batman started killing people because of PTSD, which now makes a lot more sense, but they should have explained it here. And my one biggest negative is you've had 3 years for this movie to be made, and there was no build-up for Batman. I mean, the reason why films like Captain America Civil War worked so well was because there was a build-up for it, and those 2 characters, and made sense why they were there. But with DC movies like this and Justice League, at least the original Justice League, whatever you want to call it, it goes like, hey, look at this superhero right here. We're throwing in them for no reason. He can run fast. He can move water. Yeah, that's why they're so cool. No, it's not about that. These writers don't know anything about character development or even how they are in the comics. I mean, not a terrible movie. Definitely miles better than stuff like Batman and Robin or Superman 4, The Quest for Peace, but it is definitely not a great movie. Coming in at the top 6 is Wonder Woman 1984. Now, from here on up, to be honest, these are ones I consider to be good movies, where below that is not good or not nearly as good. I at least felt redeemed watching this before the Snyder Cut came and before I started to appreciate Batman v Superman more. movies than bad ones. And at least in my opinion, but there are some problems with it, like how in Batman v Superman, for the metahuman files, you see Wonder Woman about what she's done back in 1918, but not 1984, which had a big event. And that's not the problem with BVS. That's the problem with this movie. And also felt campy with Maxwell Lord wishing everybody to be what they want, and that's what makes them so powerful. It just, I understand if you don't like it, but I've just seen way too much worse to call this a bad movie. Coming in at the top 5 is Wonder Woman. Yep, I know you're all pretty mad at me, but I think this has a good origin story, and all of that. It's proof that she at least had build-up for Wonder Woman, unlike the other heroes, with the exception of Superman and I guess Batman for Justice League before the Snyder Cut, but you get the point. I don't know what else to say about this. It's just awesome. Go check it out. Coming in at the top 4 is Aquaman. Now, from here on up, these are all films that I consider to be great movies, where everything below it is just ones that I either appreciate more than I enjoyed, a guilty pleasure, or they're just trash. And this one, it made one of the lamest superheroes into an ultimate badass. Well, I never thought Aquaman was lame, but he is underrated. Nowhere near as good as he is here. And I liked the storyline, how it was setting up the sequel, and all of that. It's very intense. It's just awesome. Coming in at the top 3 is Shazam. Now, with these 3, it was pretty hard to choose which I like more. But over time, I thought about it, and I'm like, yeah, this is definitely better than the other, and all of that. This one is funny. It made me like Shazam a lot more, which I really can't wait to see the Black Adam movie and the sequels. And yeah, it's just really good. Dr. Savannah also had a very interesting motive and had great storyline, very watchable movie. Yeah, just check this one out. It's really good. Coming in at the top 2, this is where the controversy is really going to begin. Man of Steel. Now, regretted it once he killed Zod. That's still Superman to me. And this definitely gave it a dark tone, which makes Superman more interesting. I even also liked the Richard Donner movies as well. And Superman Returns. And yeah, Zack Snyder does make good movies. And next one is a really good example of that. And coming in at first place is the Snyder Cut for Justice League. This is awesome. One of the greatest superhero movies of all time. And Darkseid is already more intimidating than Thanos. I like what they're doing with the Legion of Doom. Liked what they did with the Joker. And made me like him more. Or at least in this universe. I liked how it was so much better with the fight scenes and everything in between. It made the Flash feel at least more compelling, like he is in the Arrowverse. Nowhere near as much, but again, that he at least felt somewhere like it. And I don't know what else to say. It's just so good. Definitely gave me faith in live action DC again. And it's redeemed this in so many ways. Not only did it redeem Justice League, but also BVS and a lot of major problems I've had with this. Mainly the Joker as well, which I never thought they would do. And I really liked their rivalry. I hope we get to see the Joker and the Suicide Squad and improve more on that. And yeah, this is so awesome. You need to check this out. It definitely builds up the character's origins. And that's why it's my number one. So what do you guys think of my ranking? Tell me yours in the comments below. Like this video. Subscribe and you are a Speed Force legend. And if I pissed you off for liking or disliking a movie, explain to me why, and tell me what other video ideas you got next.